The market was loud, filled with the voices of traders, buyers, and slaves crying. But in the middle of the crowd, there was silence around one cage. Inside sat a girl, not like any other. Her skin was marked with strange glowing lines, and her eyes burned like fire. She did not beg, she did not cry. She only stared at everyone with anger. The merchants whispered among themselves. "She is untamable." One man said, "She killed 3 masters." Another added, "No chain can hold her for long." A third voice warned. The buyers stepped back, afraid even to look at her for too long. The auctioneer stood on the wooden stage, his voice loud and proud. He showed strong alien men, women with beauty, and rare creatures. They were all sold quickly, their prices high. But when it was her turn, the crowd grew quiet again. No one moved. No one dared to bid. The auctioneer laughed nervously. "Come on, my friends," he said. "This girl is strong, fast, and rare. She can be yours for the right price." But still, the crowd remained silent. The girl inside the cage pulled her chains, making a harsh sound. Her teeth showed in a dangerous smile. She whispered in a voice filled with hate, "Buy me, and you will die." The buyers shivered, stepping further back. Even the guards holding spears looked uneasy. Everyone thought she was cursed, a beast in human shape. For a moment, it seemed no one would take her. The auctioneer's face turned. Red with anger, he slammed his stick against the stage. Someone must buy her. He shouted, "She cannot remain here forever." Then, a new voice cut through the silence. "I will buy her." The words shocked the crowd. Everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was a human man, dressed in a plain traveler's coat. He looked calm, his face steady, not showing fear. Whispers spread like fire. A human. Is he mad? Does he not know who she is? He will not survive the night. The girl inside the cage lifted her head, her eyes locked on the human, sharp and full of hate. "You are a fool," she hissed. "I will tear you apart." But the man did not flinch. He raised his hand, showing the credits to the auctioneer. The auctioneer blinked in surprise, but quickly smiled. At last, a brave soul. The deal was made. Chains rattled as the guards unlocked the cage. The girl stepped out slowly, her movements like a predator ready to strike. The crowd stepped back in fear. The human held her chains, but his grip was steady. He did not pull. He did not force her. He simply walked forward, and she followed with a glare. The whispers continued around them. Why would a human risk his life for her? Does he not value his own safety? He must be crazy. As they left the auction ground, the girl leaned close to him and whispered, "The moment you sleep, human, you die." The man looked at her, his face calm. He gave no answer, only a small smile. He kept walking, leading her away from the crowd. Behind them, the market was loud again. But the story of the untamable alien girl and the foolish human had already begun to spread. The auctioneer laughed, counting his credits. The guards shook their heads. Sure, the man would not last, and the buyers returned to their trades. But deep inside, everyone wondered, was the human truly foolish? Or did he know something no one else could see? The girl's chains rattled as they walked through the dusty road. Her steps were slow, her eyes sharp. She was waiting for her chance, waiting for the moment when the human would close his eyes. Then she would show him why no one dared to buy her. But the human walked calmly, as if her threats meant nothing. The sun was setting, painting the sky with red and gold. Shadows grew long, and the air grew colder. Still, he did not speak. Still, he did not show fear. The girl began to wonder inside her heart. Who was this man, and why did he choose her? Her chains rattled again, echoing in the silence of the night. And somewhere deep inside, a strange feeling touched her heart, a feeling she had long forgotten. Curiosity. The story of the untamable alien girl had only just begun. The road outside. The auction was quiet, the noise of the market fading behind them. The human walked with steady steps, his hand holding the end of the chain. The alien girl followed, her eyes burning with silent rage. She did not stumble, she did not beg. She only glared at his back. The crowd inside the auction still spoke of him. They called him foolish, they called him mad. But the man did not hear, and if he did not care. His purchase was strange, but his face showed no regret. The girl pulled at her chains suddenly. Testing his strength, the human stopped, but did not turn around. He simply tightened his hand, holding her steady. "You can pull all you want," he said calmly, "but I will not let go." His voice was calm, without fear. The girl hissed, showing sharp teeth, "You think chains can hold me forever?" The human gave no answer, only walked forward again. They reached a small inn on the edge of the city. The owner, an old man with tired eyes, looked up as they entered. When he saw the girl's glowing marks and burning eyes, he froze. "Sir," he whispered, "you should not bring her here. She is dangerous." But the human only placed credits on the counter. "A room, food, and water," he said. The old man's hands shook as he accepted. He muttered, "You will not survive the night." The room was small but clean. The human unlocked her chains but left the cuffs on her wrists. She rubbed her sore skin and glared at him. "Why do you not fear me?" she asked. The human placed the food on the table, bread and dried meat, because fear changes nothing. He said, "Eat if you want, or starve if you wish." He sat down, calm as ever. The girl's stomach growled, but she refused to eat. Instead, she pushed the plate away. "I am not your pet," she spat. The man looked at her, his eyes steady. "You are not my pet," he said, "and you are not my slave. Then why buy me?" She demanded, her voice sharp. "For reasons you will learn later," he answered. The mystery in his words made her more angry. She clenched her fists, her glowing lines flickering brighter. That night, the human lay down on the bed. The girl sat against the wall, her eyes never leaving him. She waited for him to close his eyes. She waited for weakness. Her hand reached for a broken piece of metal she had hidden. Her steps were silent as she moved closer. The blade lifted, ready to strike. Her eyes narrowed, her heart raced. This was her chance, but the human's voice cut through the silence. "If you want freedom," he said softly, "take it." Her hands shook, the blade trembling. She stared at him, shocked. His eyes were open, looking directly at her. There was no fear, no anger, only calm. "If you kill me, the chains are yours to break," he said. "But if you stay, you will find answers." Her breath grew heavy. No master had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever given her a choice. Her grip loosened, the blade clattered to the floor. She stepped back, confused and angry. "What game are you playing, human?" she demanded. "No game," he said, closing his eyes again. "Sleep if you want, leave if you want. I will not stop you." The girl sat down again, her mind storming. Why did he not fear her? Why did he not beat her? Why did he give her freedom when he had paid for her? She could not understand. She could not kill him. Not yet. Her eyes remained fixed on him through the night. By morning, her thoughts were still heavy. But something new had appeared inside her. Not trust, not kindness, but curiosity. She wanted to know who this human really was, and why he had chosen her. When the sun rose, they left the inn. The old man watched them go, shaking his head. "He will not last," he muttered, but inside, even he wondered, why did the girl not kill him in the night? As they walked down the dusty road, the human spoke for the first time that morning. "Hunters will come for you," he said. Her eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "Your past is not hidden," he said. "Others will want you. Others will try to take you. Her chains rattled as she clenched her fists. Let them come, she growled. I will kill them all. The human looked at her with a steady gaze. Then we must be ready, far away, in the shadow of the mountains. Other eyes were watching. Hunters in dark armor spoke quietly. She has been sold. One said to a human, another sneered. Then the human must die. The leader answered. They followed silently, their weapons ready. The girl walked beside the human, her steps heavy, her mind torn. She had promised to kill him. Yet something held her back, and now new enemies were coming. The human's words echoed in her mind. We must be ready. The road ahead was long, the danger close, and the untamable alien girl had no idea her story was only beginning. The road stretched far and wide, dusty and silent. The human walked steadily, carrying a small bag on his shoulder. The alien girl followed behind, her chains loose but still heavy on her wrists. Her eyes scanned the horizon constantly, alert for any danger. Her mind was sharp, always thinking of escape. She did not speak, but her presence filled the air, tense and dangerous. The human, calm as ever, glanced back once. Rest if you need, he said softly. She ignored him, her pride stronger than hunger or fatigue. Her stomach grumbled, but she refused to eat the dried meat he offered. You tried to make me weak, she said quietly. He shook his head. I am not trying to make you weak. Eat if you want strength. She narrowed her eyes, confused by his words. No one had ever treated her this way. No one had ever offered her choice instead of commands. The journey continued through hills and valleys. The sun burned hot in the sky, and the wind carried dust into their eyes. The girl stopped suddenly, crouching low. Her ears twitched, and her glowing lines brightened. The human noticed immediately, stopping as well. Hunters, he asked quietly. She did not answer, only crouched, lower muscles tense, ready to strike. For a moment, they stood like statues in the open field. The birds flew away, sensing danger. Then she moved forward silently, keeping low. The human followed, slowly, careful not to make noise. He carried no weapons, yet she did not attack him. Her instincts were confused. He was calm, not afraid, not weak. Hours passed, and the sun began to sink, painting the sky in red and gold. They found a small cave at the base of a rocky hill. The girl sniffed the air, her body tense. She waited for danger to appear, but there was only silence. The human set down his bag, spreading a small blanket on the cave floor. He motioned to her to rest. She refused, sitting with her back against the wall, eyes scanning every shadow. Night fell quickly, bringing cold wind and the sounds of distant creatures. The girl's glowing lines shone faintly in the dark. She remembered her past, the cruel hands that had touched her, the masters who had beaten her, the chains that had cut her skin. Her fists clenched, and she whispered threats to herself. I will never be owned again. The human lit a small fire carefully. Keeping it low, he prepared food and water. Offering her some again, she stared at it, conflicted. Hunger gnawed at her, yet her pride resisted. Finally, she took a small piece, her movements sharp and cautious. The human did not push her, only watched silently. His calmness confused her, a feeling she had never experienced. As she ate, he spoke softly. Your past is heavy, but you do not have to carry it alone. She froze, her glowing eyes wide. No one had ever said such words to her. No one had ever offered help without fear or demand. She looked away quickly, biting the inside of her cheek. Anger and confusion warred inside her. The night was deep now, shadows stretching long. The girl's mind wandered to the hunters she had escaped before. She could feel them tracking her, following every step. She wanted to attack, to flee, to disappear into the darkness, but she could not move, not while he was here, calm and watching. Her chains felt heavier than ever, yet she did not pull them. Suddenly, a rustle came from outside the cave. The girl's body stiffened, glowing lines brightening in warning. The human whispered, "Stay behind me." She hesitated, instinct screaming to attack, but she saw something new in his eyes: trust. Not weakness, not fear. For the first time, she did not strike. She crouched beside him, ready but restrained. A shadow moved closer, tall and silent. The girl tensed, completely, muscles ready to spring. The human's hand rested lightly on her shoulder. "You are not alone," he whispered. Her chest heaved, her eyes focused. The shadow passed by the cave without notice. The hunters had come, but they had not found them. Yet the girl sank to the ground, finally allowing herself a small moment of relief. But her mind raced, wondering what kind of human would buy her and not fear her. What kind of human would protect her? Even when danger was near, curiosity stirred. Within her, strange and unfamiliar, she did not trust it yet, but she could not ignore it. The human sat quietly beside the fire. Eyes closed, he was injured slightly from an earlier fall. But he did not complain. The girl watched him carefully. Confused by her own thoughts, she realized she had never seen someone so calm, so strong in a different way. Not strength of chains or weapons, but strength of heart. The night passed slowly. Wind howling outside the cave. The hunters were still near, shadows among the trees. The alien girl's glowing lines dimmed as exhaustion hit. For the first time, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, this human could survive the dangers ahead. With her? And maybe, just maybe, she did not need to kill him after all. The first light of dawn touched the sky, pale and soft. The girl stood, chains clinking softly. She followed the human out of the cave. The road ahead was long, dangerous, and uncertain. But for the first time in her life, she walked beside someone without planning to destroy them, and deep inside, a small part of her could not deny curiosity about the journey ahead. The untamable alien girl had begun her story with a human, and the galaxy would soon learn that nothing about her life was simple. The sun rose slowly, painting the sky with orange and pink. The human and the alien girl walked along the rocky path, their shadows long. The girl's glowing lines pulsed faintly as she scanned every direction. Her mind was sharp, alert, ready for any sign of danger. She did not speak, but her thoughts were loud and wild. Suddenly, a group of hunters appeared at the edge of the path. They wore dark armor and carried strange weapons that glowed faintly. The girl froze, her claws flexing. Ready to attack, the human stopped, placing himself slightly in front of her. "You do not touch her," he said quietly but firmly. The hunters laughed, a human protecting an alien. "Foolish," one sneered. The girl felt her anger rise, but she stayed silent. She was watching the human closely, trying to understand him. The hunters circled, weapons pointed. "You will come with us, alien," the leader said, "or your human dies." The girl's heart raced, her instincts screaming to strike. The human raised his hands slowly, his face calm. "You will not take her," he said. The leader laughed, and the tension grew. The girl could feel the danger pressing in, close and real, without warning. One hunter lunged toward the human. The alien girl acted faster than thought, her speed blinding. She struck the hunter with a powerful kick, sending him crashing into the rocks. Another hunter aimed at her, but the human jumped, pushing her out of the way. They landed hard, dust flying, but neither spoke, only focused. The girl's glowing lines pulsed wildly, her heart pounding. She had never protected a human before. Her instinct was always to attack. The human got up, brushing off dirt. "Your choice," he said, looking at her, The girl blinked, confused. What do you mean? He stepped back slightly, his hands open. You can fight them, and they may die, he said. Or you can leave me and go free. The girl's mind froze. No one had ever given her a choice before. She could kill or she could flee, and no one would stop her. Her claws flexed, her body tense, memories of chains, pain. And masters flashed in her mind. Her anger boiled, and yet something strange stopped her. The human's calm voice echoed in her thoughts. You do not have to follow the path of fear, he said softly. The hunters circled again. Closer now, weapons raised. The girl's glowing lines burned brightly. Warning of her power, she looked at the human, studying his face. His eyes were steady, calm, fearless. He could have run. He could have hidden. He could have left her to fight. But he had stayed, standing in front of her, risking everything. Her instincts wanted to kill. But her mind hesitated. She realized something she had never felt before. Tress. Faint, but real. The leader shouted, Decide, alien. Fight or surrender. The girl's claws hovered in the air, her muscles trembling. The human spoke again, quietly. I will not leave you, he said. No matter what you choose, I will not abandon you. Her heart raced faster, her anger mixed with confusion. No one had ever promised her anything without using fear or force. She took a deep breath, her claws slowly retracting. The hunters gasped, expecting her to attack. But she stepped back, lowering her body slightly. The human relaxed just a little, watching her carefully. You are different, she whispered. Yes, he said softly, and you are free to choose. For the first time in her life, she understood the meaning of freedom, not chains, not fear, but choice. The hunters paused, unsure of her next move. Her glowing lines dimmed as she focused, not on attack, but on decision. Her eyes locked with the human's, searching for truth in his calm gaze. He nodded slightly, silently telling her that he trusted her. She stepped forward quickly, striking only to disarm one hunter. The rest fell back, shocked, unsure how to handle an alien who did not attack fully. The human moved beside her, steady and ready. Together, they faced the hunters as a strange, silent pair. The alien girl realized something inside her shifting. She had power, strength, and freedom. But now she had something else, to companionship. The hunters decided to retreat for now, calling their leader's orders as they disappeared into the forest. The girl exhaled, feeling both relief and curiosity. The human turned to her, his eyes calm. You made the choice, he said. The girl nodded, still unsure what that choice meant. For the first time, she felt respect for someone else, not fear, not hate. She had chosen to protect him, not attack him, and somehow that made her feel alive. They continued along the path. Side by side, the air was quieter now, but danger still lingered. The alien girl's glowing lines faded slightly. Her body, tense but controlled, she looked at the human, realizing he had not just bought her, he had changed her world. The first choice had been made, and the journey ahead was full of unknown dangers, challenges, and discoveries. But for the first time, she was not alone. The untamable alien girl had taken her first step not as a weapon, not as a slave, but as someone who could choose. And the human beside her would guide her through the darkness that was about to come. The sky had turned gray, clouds heavy with rain. The road ahead was narrow, bordered by thick forests on both sides. The human walked steadily, his eyes scanning every shadow. The alien girl followed behind, chains loose but still present. Her glowing lines flickered with tension, sensing danger before it arrived. She had grown used to his calmness, but never trusted it fully. Her instincts told her that trouble was near, and the forest seemed to whisper her fears. Suddenly, movement flashed between the trees. almost too fast to see. The girl tensed, claws flexing, ready to strike. The human stopped and raised a hand, silently telling her to wait. "Hunters," he said, his voice low but firm. Her eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. The trees rustled as dark figures emerged. Wearing armor that seemed to drink the dim light, the leader stepped forward, tall and cruel. Eyes fixed on the alien girl. "You belong to us," he said coldly. The girl's teeth showed in a snarl, her chains rattling. The human stepped in front of her. "Blocking the path, you will not touch her," he said, steady and unafraid. The hunters laughed, a sound that sent chills down the girl's spine. "You are just a human," the leader sneered. "What can you do?" The girl's body shook with rage, every instinct screaming to attack. But the human remained calm, looking at her with steady eyes. He did not move, did not fight, but he stood firm. For the first time, she hesitated, unsure whether to follow her instincts or trust him. The leader raised a weapon, glowing faintly with strange energy. "You have two choices, alien," he said. "Come with us peacefully, or die along with him." The girl's muscles tensed, her glowing lines brightening. She could have struck, ended the human, or run away alone. But something stopped her, something she did not understand. The human's calm voice echoed in her mind. "Trust yourself and trust me," he whispered softly. Suddenly, one hunter lunged, faster than a shadow. Aiming for the human, the girl reacted without thinking. Moving with lightning speed, she struck the hunter, sending him crashing into the trees. Another hunter aimed a weapon at her, but the human grabbed her arm. "Not yet," he said quietly. She froze, confused, muscles ready to explode. The human's hand was steady, guiding her, not holding her down. He trusted her, and for the first time, she felt a strange, new feeling responsibility. The hunters circled closer, their weapons raised. The girl's glowing lines flashed in warning, ready to attack. The human spoke again, calm and commanding. "We can fight them together, but only if we are careful." Her mind raced, thinking of chains, pain, and the masters who had used her before. But now there was no master, no fear, only choice. She could protect him, fight with him, or leave and survive alone. The first strike came from the left. A hunter moving silently, the girl jumped, faster than anyone could see. Striking with precision, the hunter fell, unconscious. But the others did not hesitate. They attacked together, circling the human and the alien girl. The forest echoed with the clash of weapons and the sound of chains. The girl's glowing lines burned bright as she moved. Every strike was calculated, every motion deadly. But the human did not fight, only guided her movements, dodging and distracting. Hours seemed to pass in a blur, rain pouring down, turning the forest floor to mud. The hunters finally retreated, their leader cursing and shouting orders. "You will pay for this, alien," he yelled. "And you, human, will die." The girl exhaled sharply, exhaustion and adrenaline battling inside her. The human turned to her, checking her for injuries. "You fought well," he said simply. She stared at him, confused by his calm praise. No one had ever treated her like this. No one had ever fought beside her. The girl sank to the ground, chains rattling softly. Her mind swirled with questions, curiosity, and something she could not name. Why did he protect her when she had always been a weapon? Why did he not fear her, even after seeing her power? The forest was silent now, but she knew this was only the beginning. The hunters would return, stronger, smarter, more determined. And she could not fight them alone. The human crouched beside her, his hand brushing her shoulder lightly. "You are not alone," he said again. The words were simple, but they struck her deeply for the first time. She felt something she had never felt: hope, not just for survival, but for something more, a connection, a purpose beyond anger and chains. The sky darkened further, rain soaking through their clothes. The alien girl rose slowly, chains clinking softly. She looked at the human, eyes glowing faintly. "Then what do we do next?" she asked quietly. "We prepare," he said calmly. "They will come again, and we must be ready." She nodded, finally understanding that her life had changed forever. The untamable alien girl would not be alone again, and the hunters would soon learn that this human was not like any other. The night was thick and silent, broken only by the sound of rain hitting the leaves. The human and the alien girl huddled under a small cliff, trying to stay dry. The girl's glowing lines flickered faintly, her body tense. Her mind raced with thoughts of the hunters and the danger still close. She had never felt fear like this before. Yet it was mixed with something stronger anger. She clenched her fists, chains rattling softly. The memories of pain, cruelty, and masters who had tried to control her came flooding back. Her body trembled. Not with fear, but with power she barely controlled. The human sat beside her, quietly watching. He did not speak, only waited, calm as always. His presence alone seemed to anchor her. Yet inside, a storm was building. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared in the distance. The hunters had returned, larger in number and more aggressive. The alien girl's glowing lines flared brightly, warning. Of the power within her, she could feel it, raw and uncontrollable, ready to destroy everything near. The human noticed her tension immediately, placing a hand lightly on her arm. "Control it," he whispered softly. She looked at him, her eyes wide. Unsure if she could, the first hunter approached. Weapon raised, moving faster than thought, the girl's instincts took over, and she struck with blinding speed. The hunter was thrown aside like a rag, unconscious. Another came at her, but she moved too fast, dodging, striking. The forest around them shook with her energy. Her glowing lines burned bright, lighting the dark night like fire. The human watched closely. Guiding her movements, he did not fight directly, only distracted and protected, but the girl's power was too great, too wild. Her anger and fear fueled her strikes, and even she began to worry if she continued. Nothing around her would remain intact. Trees splintered, rocks shattered, and the hunters fell back in terror. She screamed, a sound that shook the air. "I cannot control it," she yelled, voice echoing through the forest. The human stepped closer, calm and unafraid. "You can," he said softly, "but you must choose. Will you destroy, or will you protect?" Her body froze, chains rattling, glowing lines flickering wildly for the first time. Someone spoke to her like she was more than a weapon. Someone trusted her to choose. The hunters tried to advance again. But they were cautious now. They had seen her power, the raw force that could kill anyone. The girl's glowing lines grew brighter. A storm of energy around her. She could feel it in her bones, in her muscles, in her heart. The power was hers to command, or to lose control entirely. The human held out a hand, calmly, without fear. "You are stronger than any of them," he said quietly. "But you are not a monster unless you let yourself be." The words struck her in a way she could not explain. No one had ever said she had a choice. No one had ever seen her as more than a weapon. Her anger began to shift. Her power still strong, but no longer out of control. She looked at the hunters, then at the human. Her chest heaving, finally she spoke, her voice steady but full of warning. "They will not touch us," she said, and her glowing lines flared. Brighter than ever, the hunters stepped back, fear and awe in their eyes. They had expected an alien weapon, but not one who could choose restraint. Not one who could unleash power and control it. The leader shouted, but the words had no effect. The girl's presence was overwhelming. commanding, terrifying. The human smiled slightly, watching her regain control. "You see?" he said softly. "You are not a monster. You are yourself." The alien girl exhaled, muscles relaxing, chains rattling softly. Her glowing lines dimmed slightly, though still bright. She looked at him, for the first time feeling something she did not understand: gratitude, maybe even trust, though she would not admit it. The rain began to fall harder, washing the blood and sweat from their skin. The forest was quiet again, only the sound of distant hunters moving far away. The girl sat down heavily, catching her breath. The human knelt beside her, offering water. She accepted it silently, thinking of her first choice and the power she had almost lost. She had seen the monster inside her, and she had tamed it, not by chains, not by force, but by her own choice. As the night deepened, the forest around them seemed alive. Shadows moved, and the air was thick with danger. The alien girl looked at the human, her glowing lines dim but still alive. She realized she had a new power now: control over herself, and a strange, unexpected feeling: partnership. The monster within had been acknowledged and tamed, but not destroyed, and together they would face the hunters again, stronger than before. The untamable alien girl had begun to understand that power alone was not enough. Trust, choice, and courage mattered too. And the human beside her had shown her the way. The morning light broke through the forest, soft and pale. Mist hung low between the trees, wrapping everything in a ghostly veil. The alien girl sat by the fire the human had built, her glowing lines dim but steady. Her eyes were fixed on the flames, but her mind was far away. For the first time in her life, she was free to think without orders, without chains pulling her every move. The human returned with food he had hunted. Moving quietly as always, he set the meat on the fire and sat across from her. Neither spoke for a while, the silence stretching between them like an invisible bridge. Finally, he broke it, his voice calm and steady. "You controlled it last night," he said. She looked up sharply, frowning. "I almost lost control." She whispered, "I almost became what they always said I was: a monster." He shook his head, his eyes firm. "No," he said, "you chose not to, and that choice makes you different." The words lingered in her mind, replaying again and again. She had always been told she was nothing but a weapon, dangerous and untamable. But he spoke to her like she was more than that, like she mattered. Her chest tightened with a feeling she did not understand. It was not anger, not fear, something else entirely. The day passed slowly as they walked deeper into the forest. The hunters had retreated, but the girl knew they would return. They always did, and stronger each time. The human carried only a small pack, while she carried the weight of questions she could not answer. Why did he protect her? Why risk himself for someone the universe had already given up on? At midday, they came upon a small river, its water rushing clear and cold. The girl crouched by the bank, staring at her reflection. Her glowing lines pulsed faintly, her face sharp, wild, alien. She touched the water and watched the ripples distort her image. "Do you fear me?" she asked suddenly, her voice low but heavy. The human, filling his flask, looked at her calmly. "No," he said simply. Her eyes narrowed, searching his face for lies, but she found none. They continued on. Silence between them, yet not empty silence, something different, something almost comfortable. As evening fell, the human made camp again, and the girl sat close, her chains loose and rattling softly. She hated the sound, hated the reminder of what she had been. But the human treated them as nothing, as if they did not matter. That alone made her feel lighter, though she would never say it aloud. Later that night, as the fire crackled, the girl spoke again. "You do not treat me like they did," she said, her voice uncertain, "Because you are not what they said you are." He replied, calm as ever. Her glowing lines flickered softly. Betraying her emotions, she turned away. Quickly, embarrassed by the warmth in her chest, she was not used to kindness, not used to being seen as more than a weapon. Suddenly, the ground trembled faintly, and the forest grew quiet. Both of them stood alert. The hunters had not returned, but something else moved in the dark. From the shadows emerged a beast, larger than any she had seen. Its eyes glowed with hunger. Its claws dug deep into the soil. The girl's glowing lines flared bright, her body tense and ready. But the human raised a hand, calm again. "Wait." He said softly. The beast circled, growling low, its massive form towering over them. Every instinct told her to strike, to kill, to unleash her power. But she forced herself to wait, to trust him. The human crouched slightly, meeting the beast's glowing eyes without fear. He made no sudden moves, only stood his ground. The girl could barely breathe, confused and tense. Then, slowly, the beast backed away, melting into the shadows of the forest. She stared in shock, her glowing lines dimming slowly. "You didn't?" "Fight it," she said in disbelief. He shook his head, his eyes calm. "Not everything must be fought. Sometimes strength is knowing when not to strike." Her chest tightened again. Stronger this time, she looked at him, at the calm man who saw her not as a weapon, but as someone worth teaching. Something inside her shifted, something she could not name. Perhaps it was trust, or perhaps something even deeper. She wrapped her arms around herself, unsure what to do with the strange warmth that grew in her heart. That night, as she lay near the fire, her chains silent, she thought of his words, his calmness, and his strange courage. She thought of the way he had looked at her, not with fear, not with hatred, but with belief. It was dangerous, this feeling, unfamiliar and frightening. But it was also powerful, stronger than the chains, stronger than the hunters. For the first time in her life, she did not feel alone. The untamable alien girl, once feared by all, now found herself bound in a new way, not by chains, not by fear, but by something far more dangerous, a growing bond with a human who refused to let her believe she was a monster, and deep inside she knew this bond would change everything.